Okay, I'm looking at a defense for my disorderly conduct in a different way. All right. I have been reading what John Doe presented for Freelander likes defenses and stuff. He pretty much won his case by clerical defaults. But he brought up something interesting in the conversation he had with the judge, okay? And it seems similar to the situation I had with Officer Kevin Kinnaman of the Meridian Police Department when he asked me if I've read the disorderly conduct or like statutes, and that was it. He stopped right there. Very convenient for him. He knew I was from Washington, and he was just like, "Have you read the disorderly conduct statute?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I've read it." He's like, "Oh, you have?" You know? So he was writing me on the presumption that I've read their disorderly conduct charge, and I knew it thoroughly. I said, "Oh, it was a broad charge." But I never read the Meridian disorderly conduct charge. I didn't have a clue what the wording was. I've read others, but a lot of cities are different. So he wrote me a ticket, and I'd have to see what the police report reflects. But he pretty much wrote me a ticket under the presumption that I read it, and I full well knew what I was doing that was so illegal. All right, so that made him more comfortable to write me a ticket. And now this John Doe channel, he had this conversation with the judge where the judge like tossed out some stuff because it wasn't clearly explained what John Doe's rights were. The judge or a representative magistrate didn't clearly explain John Doe's rights or something like that. And he asked, are you familiar with your rights?" And he's like, "No." So you have to be clear on what you're being charged with. All right, they want you to knowingly understand that what you're being charged with, what the law is supposed to be. Okay, it has to be clear. And I believe that Kinnaman wrote me the ticket with the presumption I was in full understanding of what I was doing. I was there to lawful business. So maybe that's my first defense, is just the fact that I didn't understand. All right, I found them offensive, first of all. Of course, it's dark out. That's another one thing I wanted to bring up too, that the first cop, it was dark out. He was like, "Hey, what's going on, man?" It's like, what is he, a drug dealer? His light shining in my face. I couldn't quite see him. It was kind of dark, but it was a low light situation, and I couldn't quite see who I was talking with, especially with the light shining in my eyes. So it was offensive with that. I was unknowing. They don't identify themselves. They just like to say, "Hey, what's going on? Let's see some ID." It's so fraudulent in their interactions. That's a night cop for you. It's a typical night cop. But yeah, it's not. It wasn't clear to me. I was only there, 3 or 4 days. It's like as every city I go to, I take the time to read the disorderly conduct. I go to read the whole city code. Yeah, because I got that kind of time. I want to just sit there and learn every city's code, that dry material. It's so silly. I expect cities to be relatively similar in their statutes, but I mean, once again, I'm unknowing. All right, and this John Doe, he was unknowing in his rights, and this he sounds like an old man. He's been talking about how he's dying, so it doesn't matter what age you are. It should be assumed you're an adult. You should have read this stuff. But yeah, that's my defense.